20 and gusty. Lighter winds from the north tonight, low temperatures in the mid 40s. Tomorrow, we're
Good
back
morning and
to
welcome to the Greg
70s.
Belfrage Show. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. So we're just about to hit the switch. Buckle up. Let's go.
Having trouble receiving Kello at 107.9? If you're in the Sioux Falls Metro, try us at FM 105.1. Kello, News Talk 1320, and now at 105.1. The Doctor of Discernment is on the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser. Americans play to win all the time. I don't believe in no-win scenario.
This
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show this Friday morning, October 11th. It's great to have you along. So the president said, yeah, the president is just fed up with Donald Trump. He was asked at the White House whether he had spoken with Donald Trump, and he said, "Are you kidding me?" He looked at the camera with a message directly for Trump. Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people, he said. And then he was asked again, did he plan to speak with Trump? No, he says. So a lot of frustration with Donald Trump. And this shows how the federal government's trying to get their messaging out there, and in the midst of all the misinformation that's out there. I don't want to get too sideways in a lot of this. I think a lot of it just is a distraction. I'll tell you what really is memorable, I thought. And these were the comments by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Wednesday, because he spoke in a way that I love hearing leaders speak. And he was talking about what's going on in Florida. And now we've seen 2 hurricanes that have impacted Florida. And he said, on Wednesday, he said, "My job is to manage this process and lead the state through. I am using every lever at my disposal, including federal government resources. I have marshaled all the agencies in the state government, and we're working like never before to supplement our local communities. I have got to get the job done, and that's what I'm focused on." Now, people have asked me, is FEMA going to do this? Let me be clear, in Florida, we run the show. FEMA is not running the show. We will utilize them to support some of the things we're doing, but you are not going to see FEMA running amok in Florida. And he said, I know that's been out there on the internet. That is not going to happen. I'm the sheriff in charge here, and we will make sure to protect you. Don't worry about it. And so that's just drawing a lot of praise. I don't know if you, I think Clay and Buck had the audio from Governor DeSantis yesterday. They actually had that audio, and I was hoping to share it with you, and I couldn't get it to load. So, but that's pretty powerful. That's leadership. You look at that, that's leadership, and that's got to be very reassuring to people who are in the midst of just incredible damage and devastation. And he said, people have asked me, is FEMA going to do this? Let me be clear, in Florida, we run the show. FEMA is not running the show. We will utilize them to support some of the things we're doing, but you are not going to see FEMA running amok in Florida, he said. That's what a real leader sounds like. And we're hearing it from, and one can only imagine how incredibly busy it is then for everyone I mean, I'm not trying to make it sound as if I'm not focused also on people who are hurting in the, the rebuild efforts and all of that, certainly on the minds, I think, of many of us. But that's how real leaders, that's how they act. They just grab a hold and do what needs to be done. And I appreciated his comment about him being the sheriff in town. Yeah, amen. All right, other stories this morning. Donald Trump has been making a number of promises. And now he made a promise to make interest on car loans tax deductible. And so he has been talking a lot about targeted tax breaks and speaking before the Detroit Economic Club yesterday. Trump promised that he would make the interest paid on car loans fully tax deductible. And he said this will stimulate massive domestic auto production and make car ownership dramatically more affordable for millions and millions of working American families, he said. And he called those proposals a detailed plan to save the American auto industry. And he said, you vote for Trump, you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs, but from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, Trump said. So this is his latest. He said the U.S. was stupid for letting powerful companies come in and raid and rape our countries. That's what they did. Oh, he used the word rape. That's right. I used the word. They raped our country, Trump said. So this is the latest, and it's one in a number of promises. Matt Margolis, who is somebody I follow over at PJ Media's Matt Margolis, Trump announces new tax proposal, and it's pretty awesome. Is the headline. And according to Trump, one longtime auto industry professional told him, I've been in the car industry all my life. I've never thought about that. And, he said somebody comes up with the paperclip and everybody says, why the hell didn't I think of that? So this is now one of a number of, tax breaks that Trump has talked about. You and I have talked about the no taxes on tips proposal that he's got. He's talking about Social Security tax cuts. He said on True Social, seniors should not pay tax on Social Security. There are challenges surrounding that, however, I think, but that's what Trump is saying. He has talked about, corporate tax rates and a number of other things. He's talked about tariffs. So Trump is talking a lot about, trying to make things more affordable for Main Street Americans. Donald Trump, however, is not willing to debate. And Vice President Harris then went off on Trump again yesterday. She said, I think it's a disservice to the voters to not have another debate. Do you need another now, seriously? Does there need to be another debate? Because I'm really of the belief, no, there's not a need for another. Give me a break. I mean, I think those who are paying attention are pretty plugged in. As to those who are not, I mean, I don't know how you get them to pay attention. I wish I knew the answer. So anyway, Kamala Harris says, not doing another debate. I think it's a disservice to the voters. I also think it's a pretty weak move. But even if he will not debate, the contrast in this election is already clear. then why do we need the debate? Then why do we need the debate? I think that's just a first thought that comes into my head. This election is about two very different visions for our nation. One, his, focused on the past. The other, ours, focused on the future. Again, the need for a debate, and Trump has been very, very clear on True Social. He's not doing another debate. He doesn't believe that he needs to. He's not doing another debate, and I kind of agree with him. I mean, I wouldn't say I kind of agree with him. I totally agree with him. I don't think there's a need for another debate. I certainly don't need another debate. How many more word salads do we need to hear Kamala Harris serve up? And I think the opportunity for Trump to, Trump, I have been carping a little bit during the fourth hour that I do about Trump, that I wish he would step on the brakes a little bit, and I've said the same thing here. But I wish Trump would step on the brakes a little bit in terms of what he's saying. And I wish he would focus more on very specific things, rather than the way so many people use social media. It's, man, they're just reacting, they're venting, and there are a lot of things to vent about right now. I don't know that Trump serves himself well, or you and me well when he does that. I really think he needs to pull back on some of his, as he went off on True Social yesterday about the 60 Minutes piece and with Kamala Harris, and more on that, by the way, coming up here in a moment. But he is who he is. That's like so many Americans. I think when it comes to social media, they just think they've got to share everything on their mind. And see, I don't share everything with you that's on my mind. Sometimes I really need to stew on it. Because I have a thought doesn't mean I need to articulate it, and I think social media can get in the way of really thoughtful kind of. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm still voting for it. I mean, make no mistake, I'm still voting for Trump. I'm still a Trump supporter. I love Donald Trump, for reasons I was just talking about. So don't misunderstand me. I just wish he would, there's nothing wrong with stepping on the brakes once in a while, right? You know what I mean? Just slowing the car down a little bit. All right. So Tim Walz, this is incredible. And I shared this story with you yesterday about from Governor Tim Walz. This was at a fundraiser at the home of Governor Gavin Newsom of California. And Walz said, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go. We need a national popular vote, he said. And he went on a little bit. There was an additional sentence or two at most. And the story this morning is Fox News reached out to representatives for Walz to ask, does he support replacing the Electoral College with the national popular vote? Particularly after his campaign came out against it. They never received a response, but the Harris-Walz campaign released a statement, not to Fox, but to other news outlets, suggesting that the remarks that Walz had made were intended to express support for the Electoral College process. So once again, seriously, I mean, it's like, okay, I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go. We need a national popular vote. Okay, how is that expressing support for the Electoral College? I mean, I'm going to ask you because I don't know what the hell the answer is to that question. That's just nonsense. I mean, you and I are being gaslighted again. Governor Walz believes that every vote matters in the Electoral College. He's honored to be traveling the Whoa, man. So this guy, I'm grateful every time he opens his mouth. And I'm curious as to why the campaign is not just telling him, you know what, shut up. Why don't you go back to Minnesota? We'll call you when we need you. Just go back to Minnesota. Oh, man, that is just absolutely incredible. So now New York Post has got a story this morning. Former CBS News staffers are demanding an independent investigation into the 60 Minutes Kamala Harris interview scandal that CBS has released clips on YouTube where Bill Whitaker of 60 Minutes asked Kamala Harris a question, and there are two different answers. And many of us are going, what's going on with that? So now you've got former CBS News employees who are reacting to this and saying that, there's one, this is a former CBS News journalist, said, obviously there's a problem here. If they care about journalistic integrity, yeah, right. If they care about journalistic integrity, they would conduct an investigation or release the full transcript. Another CBS source said the discrepancy in the answers make it seem that the CBS show is biased. You think? Do you think maybe? So the network wouldn't comment on it. CBS declined multiple requests from the New York Post to release the full transcript, and they wouldn't comment on whether they planned on launching a probe into the matter. Is that going to be like the probe into the... There was an interview that one of the CBS morning hosts had done, and everything, he got called on the carpet because he challenged a pro-Palestinian author. Just absolutely. And I've talked about that on the fourth hour. You can get more details on that yesterday's fourth hour. I got into that in detail. Meanwhile, Republican senators are calling on CBS News to release the full transcript. Senator John Thune said, if the Harris campaign stands by all the vice president's comments, then I'm not sure why they wouldn't support releasing the full interview. In fact, their refusal to join these calls only raises more questions. Amen, Senator Thune, you're right on target. Senator Ted Cruz went after CBS for the edits. He said that it had caused real damage to their credibility going forward. So if you needed any more reasons not to watch CBS News or 60 Minutes, I mean, if you're still watching 60 Minutes after, Leslie Stahl and Trump and her, the Hunter Biden laptop story, if you're still watching 60 Minutes, I can't help you. Also, another big story this morning, former President Barack Obama is out on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris, suggested yesterday that black men are opposed to Kamala Harris simply because she's a woman. And he said, we have yet to see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all corners of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. So how does that help Kamala Harris? I'm just curious. How to say, I also want to say that it seems to be more pronounced with the brothers, he said, talking about black men here. And they're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses, he said. I've got a problem with that. Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. Might it be because she's got nothing? I mean, she is an empty suit. You have got to be kidding me. Might it be because of what comes out of her mouth? Might that be the problem with the brothers? And then we've got Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas shutting down questions. He was being asked how an Afghan man charged with planning an election day terrorist plot was permitted into the country. And he refused to answer. He said, I'd be very pleased to answer your question in a different setting. They were talking about hurricane relief and so on. So he said, I'd be pleased to answer your question in a different setting, but we're here to talk about emergencies and support that we can deliver to people in desperate need. And he was pressed on that a number of times and just refused to answer. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Thanks for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. Currently partly cloudy and 54 at Kello, and this hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
28 Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
Loud.
Hotline is brought to you by Tires. See in-store details about how to get rebates from major manufacturers. 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Anderson picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in a bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
That's ABC Seamless.
Stock up on hunting supplies.
Socks are falling up.
Plus and tactical gear. Find all-weather clothing, boots, and equipment. Sleeping bags, canteens, binoculars, and more. ABN Army Surplus. Family-owned and operated, and a Purple Heart business. 3 blocks south of the Premier Center.
What is Agility Plus? It's the new Medicare supplement Plan G coverage from Avera Health Plans that gives you more.
More benefits at a lower cost.
More comprehensive coverage like physicals plus heart, vascular, and hearing screenings.
That's the Avera Health Plan's new Medicare supplement Agility Plus Plan G. Contact your local agent or request a quote online. AveraHealthPlans.com/Medicare. Network restrictions apply with select plans. A Plan G policy may not cover all of your medical expenses. Neither Avera Health Plans nor its agents are connected with Medicare or state or federal government.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
Slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
.30, partly cloudy and 54 at Kello. Joe Bowman is in the Kello.com News Center. Coming up, South Dakota lawmakers setting the record straight over the misinformation circulating about FEMA So Joe will have details on that story and more for you coming up here in just a few moments. Fox News is next. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The Hurricane Milton death tolls at least 17 now at flooding and damage from coast to coast in Florida.
That number could go up as first responders start reaching some of the most devastated spots. Many of those people dying in the Florida city of Fort Pierce, which is one of the areas hit by tornadoes that formed during Hurricane Milton. Witnesses reported hearing wind gusts pick up and they could feel the drop in pressure. Then they started seeing roofs being ripped off and could hear the sound of windows breaking.
Fox's Jeff Paul, 2.5 million homes and businesses are without power. 2 workers are killed, 35 others need medical treatment in a hydrogen sulfide leak at a Deer Park, Texas oil refinery. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez says the danger is isolated to the plant.
We just haven't been able to actually make entry into the unit itself because, again, it's dynamic. We want to make sure that we render the area safe.
America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. In the wake of Hurricane Milton and Helene, South Dakota lawmakers are setting the record straight over the misinformation circulating about FEMA. Senator Mike Rounds debunked the claim that FEMA is out of money. He says there's at least $20 billion available. Congressman Dusty Johnson says assistance is not capped at $750. He says that's an amount provided immediately to disaster victims for urgent needs. The South Dakota Corn Marketing Group is making a push on Referred Law 21, which deals with a proposed carbon capture pipeline. The power of eminent domain is the primary concern of pipeline opponents. South Dakota Corn Executive Director Danita Murray says the outcome of RL 21 won't affect the issue of eminent domain.
The opposition to the pipeline's been super clever, and they have done a good job of tying those two issues together, when in reality, whether 201 stays in the books and whether folks vote yes or no on Referred Law 21, really, it's not going to impact eminent domain at all.
Murray says the pipeline would give South Dakota farmers the opportunity to compete in the production of low carbon score fuel. She says it would come at a time when they sorely need it with commodity prices.
Yeah, that was a good, thank you. That was a good interview with him.
The Office of Economic Development just approved a major capital investment project. Canadian pet food manufacturer Smack Pet Food is getting $2.5 million in loans to open its first U.S. location in Aberdeen. The new facility.
Excuse me, I need a little more room, so I'm going to turn my back on you.
And in sports, the Minnesota Twins are for sale. The Pohlad family released a statement yesterday announcing they're planning on selling the baseball franchise. The Pohlads have owned the Twins since 1984. The Twins have won 2 World Series titles under the family's ownership. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
News brought to you by Sioux Falls Implant and Sedation Dentistry. They fix your teeth while you sleep.
Partly cloudy skies today and cooler weather for the Sioux Falls area. Our high temperature 72, north wind at 10 to 20 and gusty. Lighter winds tonight, mainly clear skies, lows in the mid-40s. And tomorrow's high temperature nearing 70 with an east wind. Cooling weather Sunday, highs in the upper 50s. From the Storm Center at Kettleland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
At the intersection of information and entertainment, that's where you'll find Kello. News Talk 1320, 107.9, and Kello.com.
There are at least 1 million reasons not to trust social media influencers. And this new one may even help influencers break the law. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/candidates. Influencers break the law. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified product. Not a problem if it's for your Enter a new type of
Just checking the volume on that. That's
gold card. It looks like the almost impossible.
they're feeding those to us. They're a little bit too hot.
This card comes from something called the OTH network.
It's a little bit too loud. You hear that distortion.
Influencers write good things about restaurants and stores. They use the card to trade the good publicity for expensive dinners and merchandise. Of course, the Federal Trade Commission is very clear about this. When an influencer gets paid in any way to endorse a product, they have to tell you. When's the last time you heard any influencer say that? Enter to win a new iPhone 16 at winfromkim.com. When hiring for a small business, You want quality professionals who are right for the role and your team. That's why I use LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right people for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just another job board. You get access to LinkedIn's vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, many of whom you won't find anywhere else. That's why it's simply the best place to hire. LinkedIn does all that while making the process simple and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that as a small business, you might not have the time or resources to spend on hiring. That's why LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make it simpler, like the new feature to help write job descriptions. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. That's linkedin.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Yellow Hotline is brought to you by Tires, your Give You More tire and automotive store. Financing programs available, 2 Sioux Falls locations to serve you.
Your age has never stopped you from doing more. Your health insurance shouldn't either. Align, powered by Sanford Health Plan, is an all-in-one Medicare Advantage option with Medicare Parts A and B, prescriptions, $0 premiums and copays. It's one complete plan to care for the whole
No.
from a local insurance provider you can trust. Do more with Medicare. Do more with Align, powered by Sanford Health Plan. For a free guide, visit align.sanfordhealthplan.com.
Are you a creative thinker with a passion for radio? We're looking for a part-time producer to join the Greg Belfrage Show team. I'll rely on you to screen phone calls and help me get the best out of our callers. Candidates need some digital skills. This is a 25-hour-a-week part-time position. Send your resume to kellojobs@mwcradio.com or mail it to KELO AM, 500 South Phillips Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 57104. Midwest Communications is an equal opportunity employer by choice.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the
It feels like Friday, doesn't it? Felt like Friday 2 days ago.
Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. And it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to goodrx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
During Cybersecurity Awareness Month, LifeLock wants to give you helpful tips to protect your identity. Using multi-factor authentication can be a line of defense to help protect your personal information. But LifeLock offers comprehensive protection against identity theft. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes issues that arise, guaranteed or your money back. Protect your identity today with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use my name Clay as the promo code. Terms apply.
Okay, some mornings you might not have that get up and go.
But at least you can get up and know.
The Greg Belfrage Show, with insightful opinions on the latest stories and frequent weather updates. It'll get you in the know while you're getting ready to go. Kello News Talk 1320.
.39, partly cloudy and 54 currently at Kello. Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. Really appreciate it. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. Coming up a little bit later this morning, I'll be drawing winners for the Motown Christmas Holiday Spectacular. It's coming to the Washington Pavilion Friday, November 8th at 7:30. So the contest closes this morning at 9. If you haven't entered yet, go to my Facebook page. Just go to the Greg Belfrage Facebook page and pinned to the top of my page, you'll see, you'll see me asking you comment to win. And that's all you've got to do. All you have to do is just leave a comment of any kind. I don't care what it is. And you're entered. It's just that easy. And then again, I will draw a winner coming up. The contest closes at 9 this morning. And I will draw a winner a little later this morning. So make sure you do that. So we'll be giving away at least 8 pair of tickets to the Motown Christmas Holiday Spectacular at the Washington Pavilion Friday, November 8th at 7:30. So make sure that you register.
Tweeting begin. The hashtag does that. News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
All right, let's look at the trending stories this morning. Donald Trump rejecting a call for another debate with him and Kamala Harris. So Trump said, and it was actually some time ago that he had said that he would not have another debate with Kamala Harris, and he's standing firm to this. So she's out there opining about it, but Trump is refusing. He said the first thing a prize fighter does when he loses a fight is they say that he demands a rematch. He had said this a while ago on True Social, and he's not backing off of it. He said it's very late in the process. Voting has already begun. There will be no rematch. Besides, Kamala stated clearly that she would not do anything. He's repeating what he had said before. But he's adding to it. He said, besides, Kamala stated clearly when she was on The View that she would not do anything different than Joe Biden. So there is nothing to debate. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Trump said. So Trump is standing firm. There is not going to be another debate. Also, this is weird. I saw this yesterday, didn't quite know what to make of it because the story is trending, where Kamala Harris covers her mouth and appears to remind her staff that she was on a live broadcast during a Hurricane Milton briefing from FEMA on Wednesday. So the briefing was getting into preparations that were being made for the hurricane. Well, there's a piece at the Daily Mail now, because I thought, okay, the stories that I'd seen just didn't have any details as to, okay, she covers her mouth and says she's in a meeting. I thought, big deal. I mean, that's just so what people are saying is they believe that she may have been being fed questions in this. And so she was caught. This is the Daily Mail. They say Kamala Harris was caught engaged in an awkward hot mic moment during a virtual briefing on Wednesday that critics accused of being an aide in her ear, feeding her talking points. And one user on X said, this lady doesn't know what's going on. Everything about her is scripted and fake. So might she have been, receiving talking points from an aide? That's what all the hoopla is about. But that story is trending. Former President Bill Clinton's going to hit the campaign trail this weekend for Kamala Harris. So it's a targeted push across the battleground states through Election Day. And the CNN is, they said there are a number of sources that are confirming that to CNN. So Bill Clinton will try to appeal to rural voters. Also, the polls are trending almost every day, which is really about the only reason that I mentioned them, to be honest. Pennsylvania 2024 Trump-Harris polls, crucial swing state now virtually tied. This is a story from Forbes. So it's virtually tied in Pennsylvania. Then I go over to Breitbart, and they're saying that Trump is ahead of Vice President Kamala Harris in all 7 swing states, according to an internal poll from his campaign. He's up 3 in Arizona, up 5 in Georgia, up 1 in Michigan, up 3 in Nevada, up 1 in North Carolina, up 1 in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. So, again, the margin of error generally is of any poll is, 3 points. So you listen to that, 1 to 3 points. That's the margin of error. So it's close. It is close, boys and girls. I mentioned this to you yesterday, but Hurricane Milton had ripped the roof off Tropicana Field. Was badly damaged on Wednesday night. And that story is trending. There is a few hurricane stories that are trending. Again, these are dated. That's pretty common with stories that are trending. Also, North Carolina officials concerned about the impact of Hurricane Helene and what had happened. And then in terms of voting, there are concerns about voter turnout, ballot delivery due to the widespread damage. The FEMA has declared more than 20 counties as disaster areas. And the North Carolina Board of Elections approved more than a dozen changes. So those changes will allow counties to alter early voting and election day locations, as well as allow voters to drop off absentee ballots at any Board of Election office by 7:30 on election night. Also, the number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits surged last week, and that was partially boosted also then by Hurricane Helene, as well as the furloughs at Boeing. So there's a strike going on at Boeing. So claims have increased. Also, there is a new report claims that Afghan national who was arrested Monday for planning an election day terrorist attack, he previously worked as a security guard for the Central Intelligence Agency in Afghanistan, according to NBC News. He was arrested in Oklahoma Monday, facing charges for plotting to kill U.S. citizens with an assault rifle on election day in the name of ISIS. Court documents obtained by NBC say that he had donated to an ISIS charity in March, accessed the terrorist organization's online propaganda. However, officials haven't determined whether he was radicalized before or after relocating to the United States. How would you become? I guess it's possible that people could become radicalized after coming to the United States, but it's a little bit harder to believe, I think, at least for me. I'm struggling with that a little bit. We'll see what we find out. Also, Donald Trump and Senator J.D. Vance slammed CBS News 60 Minutes yesterday for refusing to address the scandal surrounding their edits that the program made to the interview with Kamala Harris. So Trump said, a giant fake news scam by CBS in 60 Minutes. Her real answer was crazy or dumb. So they actually replaced it with another answer in order to save her or at least make her look better, he said. So Trump called this the single biggest scandal in broadcast history. And you got a growing number of people, including South Dakota Senator John Thune, as I mentioned, who are calling now on CBS to release the entire interview. Why wouldn't you release the entire interview? Let them release it all. I don't think CBS is going to do that to you. I don't believe they will. Because, not because they're concerned about Kamala Harris having egg all over her face. They're concerned about the network having egg all over its face. I just don't think they're going to release it. Other stories trending this morning. The Northern Lights returned to skies across the U.S. last night after a solar storm triggered some great displays known as the Aurora Borealis, and that brought about by a severe magnetic storm last night. Also, Princess Kate is meeting with families. You remember this was in Great Britain, the girls that were killed in dance class in a stabbing attack. Well, this is the first appearance of Princess Kate since ending her chemo. So she honored the victims of the attack with Prince William during her first official post-chemo appearance. So again, they're meeting with the families of victims of the Taylor Swift dance class stabbing attack. Also trending this morning, TD Bank will pay about $3 billion in this is a historic settlement with the United States, who said yesterday that TD Bank's practices allowed significant money laundering over multiple years. TD Bank is based in Canada, and Merrick Garland said that TD Bank created an environment that allowed financial crime to flourish. By making its services convenient for criminals, it became one, he said. Also, Bruce Pack. If you've never heard of Bruce Pack, they produce ready-to-eat meat and poultry items. They have recalled almost 10 million pounds of product due to possible listeria contamination, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They announced this on Wednesday. So dozens of recalled products have been distributed to restaurants and institutions then throughout the country. And affected products may have been used in ready-to-eat products that are on store shelves or in your refrigerator or freezer, according to the USDA. Also, millions of Social Security recipients will receive a 2.5 cost of living increase to their monthly checks beginning in January. So 72.5 million people, including retirees, disabled people, and children, get Social Security benefits. So before the announcement, even retirees had voiced concern that the increase would not be enough to counter their rising costs. Also trending this morning, Ethel Kennedy, who lost her husband, Robert F. Kennedy, and her brother-in-law, John F. Kennedy, died, I think, early Thursday. So yesterday, she passed away at the age of 96. Kennedy died from complications from a stroke she suffered last week, according to the family. Also, consumer prices rose slightly in September as the Federal Reserve getting ready to cut interest rates, and the consumer price index which is a closely watched gauge of inflation, rose 0.2% in September and 2.4% over the previous 12 months, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics. The annual inflation rate was the lowest since February of 2021. So economists have said they expect prices to rise 0.1% in September, 2.3% annually, according to estimates. So those numbers are out. Also, Rafael Nadal is retiring from professional tennis. He's 38 years old. He announced this yesterday. Nadal has won 22 Grand Slam titles, 14 at the French Open. And he said the reality is that it has been some difficult years, these last two especially. I don't think I've been able to play without limitations. It's obviously a difficult decision, one that has taken me some time to make. But in this life, everything has a beginning and an end. Yeah, absolutely right. Also trending this morning, there's a probe into whether Democrats have used the Act Blue platform to cheat at fundraising. There's an investigation then. Act Blue is an online fundraising platform. And so now the investigation is expanded into 19 states as attorneys general across the country are looking into the company, pressing them on their security practices and whether Democrats might be using the platform to cheat on election donations. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month, partly cloudy and 54. And you're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
And first to talk about it.
Thank you so much for letting me join you this morning. I appreciate it. Hope you'll be back at 9:30 as we wrap up another week here on YouTube. So thank you so much. Take care. Have a great weekend. And I hope to see you again Monday, if not sooner.